All right, we are back. These are your hosts, Tim,
Travis,
Herman.
And today we're going to put an exclamation point on masculinity. We're going to talk about social dominance hierarchy, aka the alpha male versus the beta male and everything in between.
I feel like I need to beat my chest right now.
Right?
Assert my dominance.
Might be some extra loud noises.
Might be.
I feel like Herman might flip a table during this
I could get
episode.
real upset, dog. I'll get real mad.
If a fight breaks out,
I'm fighting T-Bone. You know karate, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's ready.
if it breaks out, we're
Plus,
just
look
gonna
at his
keep
shoulders,
we're just
dog.
gonna keep it rolling.
My man's been
Keep
doing
tape rolling.
chin-ups.
Yeah, man. I just got to use my reach.
2 days a week. I just gotta use some speed. All right. So, Herman, please introduce to the listeners the social dominance hierarchy that we're going to talk about today.
All right, perfect. So I thought that this is important because most people only know two, alpha and beta. And over the past few years, probably since all throughout time, there's been like this kind of push and pull on what is what. But recently, like, people really like come down on betas. But as I've done some research and reading, I'm like, man, a beta is not what they think.
Yeah.
In a lot of capacities. So I'm like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And then as I was doing even further, I'm like, oh, snap, there's even more, not too dissimilar from what we would do in a branding exercise. So going down the list, there's also sigma, delta, gamma, and omega. And
Well, it only makes sense because there's like 52 genders. So at least there's got to be like 20 different types of men.
yes, but it also, it's interesting because it plays out in a really weird way and everybody brings something to the table. So I don't know if we want to jump into exactly what they are, but I think that most people have this perception that we even made an episode on the alpha, and I said most alphas are fake alphas, but that was also looking at alphas as like this toxic kind of thing. But I'm like, there are traits in there that it's just not that. So
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the easy one, the alpha. What are the traits of an alpha male?
So
the actual traits, not the.
And it's so weird because I mean, the list could be forever, but I kind of kept it high level. So it'd be leadership focused, brave, strong, capable, decisive, and responsible. Right.
Well, found me.
At that level.
Where do y'all fit in?
I'm like 89%.
Yeah.
Like a B plus.
Right. But I'm like, so that's kind of more like, I would say business focused, less than like alpha out in the wild. Like if you're an actual alpha male wolf leading a pack and you have to actually put, your neck on the line.
I mean, it's still the same
It
leadership, focus, brave, strong. You got to be the strongest, right?
Right. Also the most risk seeking, but also sometimes that leader cannot come to that place without the beta because they need that support. So when you think about beta, which society kind of shits on a little bit, but these are their traits. So a lone wolf mentality, loyal to the alpha. They're friendly. They desire acknowledgement from the alpha for their contributions. They still do well with women. They're strong leadership figures themselves. They like being provided with a strong leadership and vision.
Okay.
Right. So like in the business sense, I'm like, sometimes businesses will fail without that person, and that person is compensated well. That person can have a beautiful wife. Why are you looking like that?
I'm just taking it all in.
You know what I'm struggling with though, and we talked about this in pre-production, is that I'm not picturing, like, I'm looking at my life and the people that are coming to mind, alpha or beta, are women.
So,
And I might be struggling with that throughout this episode. I mean, I do have a company and it's full of women.
yeah.
So that might be partially the issue, but do females and other come under the same
There's
framework?
the same hierarchy with similar and dissimilar traits, right? So I'm like, that would be its own episode, and obviously we would need to bring a woman on to discuss that and how that plays out in her world. But that would be more relationship based. So I wanted to keep it this way, focused on men, because
Stop thinking about the ladies, player.
Yeah, dog.
I mean, he said it, attractive to women.
Well,
beta male, I'm thinking, all right, so he picking up the leftovers.
This is what I picked up on when I was doing the research.
Parking lot pimp.
It's like a combination of all
Betas
things.
wait for the let out.
Betas are lurkers. Betas be walking in Walmart with a
The alpha gets in the club because he knows the bouncer.
Yeah.
The beta can't get in, so he just plays the let out.
Yeah. Alpha got it. Alpha got bottle service. Beta catch him at the bar.
But the beta still
So the beta still got connects. He can get in. He just
ladies, look good.
All right.
So
wow. All right. So in between, actually next to the alpha is one that I feel like it's kind of new, but it's the Sigma male. And as I thought that was myself. I don't know if it is or not.
Because your college roommate was a Sigma?
Yeah, people wear blue and white.
Kind of. But their traits would be lone wolf mentality, nonconformity, self-sufficient, energized by solitude, longing for adventure, desire for freedom, and the journey can be challenging. And if there's one thing I've been on, it is a challenging journey. But it's kind of been my own thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's that.
I don't see you as a Sigma though.
Oh, there's a lot more to it than that. But we'll get into that. Then let's jump down to the Delta. So the Delta you will get because it's like that everyman persona. So that would be the average Joe. Dutiful, hardworking, competent, proud. They desire respect for their work. So that's like most average guys. But they are leaders in the foundations of their own system. So like in their families, they're still kind of served like an alpha, but they're the person that gets shit done. And the entire hierarchy essentially collapses without that person within the group. They can tend to be introverted, private, maybe have low self-esteem, but that can always be for some reason there within.
Got some trauma.
Yeah. Next would be Gamma, highly intelligent, sensitive and introspective, can be dishonest, dissatisfied with their position. They believe that they should be in charge, socially awkward. They're awkward, but also empathetic and compassionate, mostly well-rounded, and they're a jack of all trades. And then last would be the Omega, which I think has the worst description. But as I read into it, and I should have made this more expansive, but we can dig in more. But the first thing was like they're less attractive, and I changed that from unattractive. I'm like, damn, not every Omega can be unattractive.
They're just all ugly,
right? So less attractive, awkward, weird, makes people uncomfortable. Oftentimes they'll give up on dating relationships, and I'm like, oh shit, this is every mass murder like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that is
right.
But then when you look at there's also nowhere to go but up. But if you look at like successful Omegas, it's Einstein and Bill Gates.
So funny. I'm going to be walking around and every time I see
labeling people,
dude, be like, that is a Q dog. That's an Omega.
Dang.
It's an Omega right there, man.
Crown Royal built by
that dude is ugly. He must be an Omega dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the frat. Shout out to Theodis who came on the show. But
so that is kind of the rundown of all these traits.
All right. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buckets essentially that we can put ourselves in. And obviously, you know, nothing's black and white in this world.
Nothing.
We live in the gray, especially in the middle.
Right.
So I could see like there's certain percentages of, you know, one, you know, versus the other, probably a combination, right? And then it probably depends on where you are in your life stage.
Exactly. And like, that's kind of the point. So I'm like, if we want to be better people towards one another, we need to understand what we're going through and what we're trying to do, right? Like you might need to act like the alpha without having all the alpha character. Like I have led before and I've been very successful in leading a big team. But I never called myself a boss. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't my thing. I just was good at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that wasn't my calling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, one of the things I always tell, like anytime I mentor is like, you know, I lead by example and sometimes you lead by following, right? Like you just have to take a back seat and let someone else who may be better or faster or stronger or maybe their opportunity to be in the limelight. And I run my business like that. And so does that make me, is that more like beta or are those more delta traits?
So it's funny when I think about you leading your business, it's like you are instantly an alpha, but I know you're introverted, right? Like I know that you don't want to give a speech in front of a group, right? Like I know that you're chasing, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, what you actually are versus what you have to be, right? And like,
your environment dictates a lot.
Right.
Sure.
And I really subscribe to the theory that you're not just one thing, because I know in different arenas, if I'm in even different cliques of friendship, my role may be different. Yeah, I'm I'm more of an alpha probably with my friends from college than I am with my friends from high school. What they would call me at work is probably different than what they would call me at home. So it's just different. So yeah, I think that's interesting.
Yeah, different friend groups. I mean, it's same. Like if I think about like my college friends and then my high school friends, but then like even different groups within those, those experiences, I played a different role.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think why.
It's just because it's team. It's a team. It's a unit. So therefore, different things are necessary to do certain things. Like for instance, the example you said, when we started out and we were talking about, if we put a list of our friends, and there was danger ahead, who's going to be the first to jump out there? Now, due to life experiences, I know that we have various levels of crazy versus ration.
Right.
And I know where I fall on that scale. So when I'm still assessing danger, somebody else has already seen it as a threat and is already going to attack.
Right.
And that person would be probably more alpha in that situation.
Right.
But I would say that if it was me and my family,
Always, right?
Or
I'm going to be quicker to that trigger because
100%.
That's my role.
Yeah.
or
absolutely.
that person that's quick to jump is a gamma because they're highly intelligent and also unsatisfied with their position. So they are ready to get scrappy.
Yeah.
That could
And that's
be
what,
it.
like, it's an interesting concept because I'm like, it transcends relationships, friendships, family, and work, right?
Yeah.
Like they're all, it's just like this influx. I'm like, you could simultaneously, like there was a lady that was trying to rob somebody the other day. You were up here. I know, right? Crazy lady. She anyway, but like, I'm out of the way, right?
Yeah.
But, police officer, his duty calls and they jump out and they're ready to do what they got to do. I'm like, it's your job. And I'm like, instant alpha. And I'm like, cool, glad y'all did that. I'm out here feeling like a straight beta because I'm like, hey, I still got all my shit.
For me, I would notice it like in my college friends versus my high school friends. So in my college friends, I have to be the alpha. Like there's something simple like planning. If I don't either put the idea out there, stamp or plan it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But with my high school friends, I'm waiting for Tim to make that decision.
Right. That's me.
Tim's the planner. Tim's like, okay, we're all going to this concert. Who's in? Hey, we're going to do this. Who's in? And so I'm just kind of like, yay or nay.
Man, we got a group chat full of betas, bro.
Nobody will make a decision.
Yeah, nobody will make
gamma
a decision.
Yeah, right. Like everybody's pushing for one person to make a decision.
Then they won't until it becomes a subgroup of those things, right? And then if you're in one of those little subgroups, then yes, you'll make a decision. You'll rise to the occasion or whatever. But yeah, man, that's the first thing that came to mind because I'm like my college friends, like we want to go on vacation together, and it's like, okay, where we're gonna go. Man, for 3 years we've been talking about where we're gonna go.
Right.
It's like finally, like, hey, let's do something. And if I don't say, hey, we're gonna be here at this time and do it, it's not gonna happen.
Nope.
So do you think like to have a functional group, whatever instance it is, scenario, you have to have a certain makeup of these types of males?
So essentially, yes. Obviously, it would have to be a group greater than 6, but I think that everybody kind of will fall into line in some capacity. So one of the relationship things that I had jotted down was like a beautiful girl at a bar, all the homies together. Who's the first to jump out? Most of us won't be afraid, but we've kind of conditioned one another so like we don't have that fear at all. We're all kind of.
I won't. I am the honey. They'll come.
So actually, let's go back.
First off, we don't go to girls. They come to us.
We don't.
Plus, that was
chase.
like,
This dude done forgot
let him
about the experiences at Roadhouse Rubies.
oh,
And
I know I damn it. I remember all them swings and misses.
dang.
So now,
so you have evolved to a Sigma by experience.
Hey, man, I had to change up the game,
I
man.
started as an alpha. I was striving to be an alpha. I wanted to be an alpha.
Oh Yeah, man.
I ended up being a delta.
So there are two things. So recently I read the book that I gave you, Rocket Fuel, and it really talks about business in this capacity of to be successful, you have to have two things: a visionary and an integrator.
Yep.
And right, like in an alpha beta kind of world, that visionary, a lot of visionaries are out here running companies that fail because they don't have the hypothetically beta personality type that understands them, that wants them to be successful, that is okay like doing that role, which can still be highly compensated and things like that. But I'm like, what they recommend for entrepreneurs is having that second in command to complement one another, because a lot of times alphas will fail without that, and betas thrive there too. And I just think that it's interesting how often an alpha can fail because of the perceptions, right? Like the perception that I've fallen into is they're an asshole, they're too hungry for all of these things, too aggressive, all those kind of negative things. But at the end of the day, they just kind of are absolute in their quest for want to be successful, want to run a successful company. And I think that it's okay to have followers. And if you look at the macro level, that's America, right?
Yeah.
And so you're not all, actually, this was kind of my funny thing when taking this approach to America, because I'm like, I feel like a lot of people that follow Trump would consider themselves all alpha males. But in reality, to follow, you are a true beta. And I think that it's okay that you are with that.
But is that true, though? Can there only be one alpha?
I think it, I mean, I guess.
Is alpha singular? Because
I mean,
there's nothing that says in the definition that this one is the creme de la creme, the top of the pyramid at all times. So yeah, like you could be following somebody who's an alpha, or you can be aligned with somebody who's alpha, or gravitate to somebody who's an alpha. But does that mean that it's a singular deal? Like as soon as I'm intrigued by someone, that I'm now defaulting to beta tendencies.
I mean, let me chime in with my thoughts before you come in with the actual answer.
Let me get it.
So I don't think, with this construct, right, I don't think you can't flip flop, right? Like if you look at the group and you have group dynamics, the alpha is the alpha. And if I'm a beta, then I depend on that alpha for guidance, for vision, right? And we can't flip flop because I haven't been doing that, right? So I'm not going to be good at it, and I probably don't have those traits. So I feel like, and every time we say alpha male, I always think of, I think of dogs and their owners, right? Or I think of lions, right? And how, the alpha male lion, like, well, shit, I guess I just talked myself out of that, because the alpha male gets challenged, right, by younger, smaller alphas. And when he gets his ass whooped, he is no longer alpha. Yeah. He has to submit to the new. So it's like they were born alphas, and you either conform to the dynamics of the group, or I guess to your point, you go and be your lone wolf as your own beta, or
you can start a new tribe
or sigma, right? Or you become a beta in that.
I just don't see it as a singular deal. Like, I just don't see it as like, if I'm not the top dog, then I'm not an alpha. Like, for instance, you have collaboratory efforts. So you have, opportunities sometimes where it's a collaboration. And so you have alphas from different arenas sitting down, and you can have 4 alphas taking 25% of the responsibility on something.
They ain't getting nothing done.
But it's funny, because if those 4 alphas are in upper or executive management, and they're still reporting to a CEO or a CFO, and then a president, and then a board, it's still their
You might be the alpha in this room.
So
like,
but
you're an alpha for the moment.
This org chart.
Right, exactly. And so that's where it's like, so there's one vision as an organization.
So you do ebb and flow, to your point.
So I'm not saying that the best way to construct a team or a conglomerate or some sort of partnership is to put a bunch of alphas in the same place. But I mean, I think it's possible that, you have, like Black Panther, you have 4, tribes there at the same time, and you're sitting there and making and weighing out decisions. Yes. Now, granted, there's always going to be somebody who is a leader amongst leaders.
Right.
And that may be the top alpha. I don't know what you call that person. But I mean, I think it's worth the discussion, the challenge, if it's singular.
Well, and I think that that's kind of what the gamma is, or people that fall below. I'm like, this is what people think, or like people say that's a beta, but I'm like, really, if that person might not be a beta next year, or that person might not be a gamma next year, whatever it is, like it's the things that happen in life that make people ebb and flow in these situations, and your successful business might fail. So you no longer have the confidence. You're no longer alpha. You're going to fall all the way down, but you will climb back up. And that's okay too. So I just think it's weird that we label these things, or like people try to figure out these personality types and how to interact. But I'm like, it's ever changing. But to understand certain people, like while you like exhibit alpha behavior while you're on your grind, going up to the top. And
so I hate to end this episode early, but it sounds like this construct is full of shit.
So
if it changes so much depending on the circumstance, the people who are around you, the time of day, the time of year, how old you are.
Well, slow down, Spartacus. So what I would say is that there is an inherent need to have certain traits. Some people crave the need to be an alpha. And I guess if you're going back to something we talked about a long time ago, which would be emotional intelligence, then if you can understand where somebody's default logic is, it can help you better communicate, work with, or partner with an individual. Right. So if somebody has a need to feel like they're calling the shots, sometimes it's best to use that to your advantage and to work with that and to intentionally set dialogue or set different agendas in there for them to believe it's their own. And there's other people who that are just, you got to push and prod to make a decision. And if you know that that's, I don't know where that would fall on our scale right there, but if you know that we're going to call them a Delta, an average Joe, and you need to push them, then you need to know that. Yeah. And need to know where their default is, because we're all going to live in a space comfortably, and we love to be comfortable. So of all these different realms, where's your home base? That's probably the real question.
So I'm looking at this hierarchy, and I'm getting more and more attracted to the gamma. Because like in your scenario, right, I may not be the boss now, but I strive to be. It sounds like that transition would be from a gamma to an alpha. Highly intelligent, right? So I'm capable. I'm unsatisfied with my current position as a gamma. And I believe that I should be in charge. That's that person, right? Dude, so
all I could think of when I wrote that was Scar in The Lion King.
Right.
I mean, he's a perfect example of what a gamma would be, but that's like the most negative aspect of what a gamma, like, so not all of them are going to be dishonest. Sure.
But if Scar wasn't evil, and he murderous, then he might have been able to bring the light and the dark together.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
The hyenas can play alongside the little lion cubs.
Actually, yeah. So it's kind of like climbing up. Like if you were
not living in Mufasa's shadow.
If you were to take a work scenario with somebody that wants to grow, some people inherently are going to do shitty things to grow. They're going to throw people under the bus, and obviously you're going to watch out for that person. But the same person that's not that negative could be just eager to do what they need to do to get to the next level, and they're going to work hard and they're going to do those things. But then all of a sudden you move from gamma to whatever else, depending on whatever traits you want to lean into.
I'm going to add that to my coaching when I'm dealing with people at work who do shady stuff. You gamma motherfucker.
But I mean,
you've been demoted.
Yeah, I'm gonna put
what?
that.
I'm going to the line. No. Just
put that on the coaching.
You're no longer a
coaching form. Displaying gamma-like behavior.
Omega tendencies.
Omega tendencies.
Yeah, I need a detailed action plan.
So you said team earlier, and I think of the Lakers, right? Starting five, can you match them up with their characteristics and why they sucked ass last year? I think that might be that they didn't have the right team dynamics, right? Yeah, based on
too many alphas.
Everybody's
exactly.
In charge. Well, we try to get all these blue chip players, which are been alphas in their previous teams.
Yeah.
And then you come together and it's like, shit's not working.
Yeah, or
because you don't got no role players.
High school. Your story transitioning from high school football to college football. Did you feel like an alpha when you were down at FAMU?
Hell no.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
a short ass omega.
Right. But
Oh, these alphas are huge.
Well, I think you're onto something though, like with the Lakers. So, LeBron James will be your alpha. He's, the star. He's decisive. He's brave. He'll go out there and give you everything he got, et cetera, et cetera. Responsibility falls on his shoulders. And then you had Russell Westbrook, starting point guard. But he has, people would believe that he's an alpha male, but he's really probably more a sigma because he has a lone wolf mentality and he plays best when he controls everything. And he has the ball and he is not looking to conform. And then
longing for adventure.
Yeah,
that's definitely it.
Yeah. And then Anthony Davis, who would be your starting power forward or center. Where's the soft category?
damn.
Well,
let's start with
he's probably the gamma.
He's probably the gamma. He has the talent.
He wants to be the alpha.
He
right?
wants to be it. He's talented. He's, but at the same time, he is a little bit awkward and he is having trouble. Staying on the court. Kind of a jack of all trades, though. He can do a lot of different things. He's got such a skill set, but he doesn't master anything, and he kind of struggles with an identity crisis on the field. So on the court. So that's really a good example. It's the rest of the starting five, they had so many injuries, it's hard to plug and pull them all in.
Right.
So I guess I would go with who was the other guard?
Was it? No, not Rondo. He left.
No, he was gone. He was the other's two guard. Well, they had Carmelo, and
yeah.
So we'll put Carmelo in there because he's Carmelo. Where is the attractive to women? Getting people pregnant part of the of the journey. And then there's Dwight Howard, who's crazy.
Right.
But the key to the story is, there's an identity crisis. It's not a good generic makeup.
Yep. No, that makes sense. I think that's tracking.
I will tell you, just like talking about a sports journey, going from high school to college. Well, I can just stay in college, just having to be I was not an alpha when I got to college, like very, very quiet, very reserved, very scoping in, checking the scene, not wanting to make a mistake. But then due to the situation, I was just there for a long time, right? So as you get more experience, you know how things go, you grow. You get louder, you get more decisive on what needs to happen.
Get better.
You get
right?
better.
You get more confidence.
And by the time I was in my 5th year, I was more of an alpha. I was a team captain. I was saying, hey, do this, do that, don't do this and do that, and very, very loud, which was a whole new place for me to ever be.
A whole different T-Bone.
I've never been there in my life.
I've never seen that T-Bone.
But
but
that also helped me so much because once you leave that, you go into a career.
Well, and I was going to say, it's kind of funny. So you think about freshmen and seniors at every level, whether you play sports or not. So I'm like, everybody gets granted this freedom to be an alpha. Like if you're a senior, you are an alpha to any incoming freshman.
Right.
Just based off of you knowing more of whatever, and you could, right? Like they're looking to you for answers. But I'm like, that actually, so I'm like, I feel
until the alpha male comes up from the 8th grade and is,
or another alpha within the scene. Like if you're a senior and there's another alpha there, I'm like, man, why are you fucking with that freshman?
Right. You ride the bench, bro. Leave me alone.
Right. So, but I'm like, it's funny because everybody at some level gets to be, I mean, you just kind of become these certain things. Like you are an alpha because you're a senior to all of these freshmen.
But that doesn't mean you have the traits to fill that role.
Right. So that's why I'm like, it's almost like a perception up, right? Like you didn't ask for that. That's not who you truly are, but you're still being looked to for guidance from a freshman that might see you as kind.
Yeah. Now you got to fill
that
the shoes.
made a light bulb go off in my head because just as much as it's about how you feel about yourself, the key component though is how you make others feel about you. Right. So if you want to be an alpha all you want to, but if you can't,
if nobody's following your ass,
you can't get people to subscribe to that theory, man, then it's going to be a problem.
Right.
And you're not going to be successful in your attempt. So it's about you possessing the traits and demonstrating those things in a way that yields the results that you're trying to get.
All right.
Yeah.
So the $1 million question. What are you?
What am I? Who am I?
PD Pablo, bro.
You're definitely not PD Pablo. And if you're trying to be PD Pablo, I'm going to call that beta energy.
I wanted to say alpha, but I'm not that all the time.
See, when he got here, he said alpha without any hesitation.
Because you aggressed him.
I know, right? I said, what are you?
He's like, he's aggressed me. I think I know
I
the
mean,
alpha right now.
can you read the traits from an alpha again? Let me just make sure.
You're so dumb.
Hey, look, it goes.
You already checked all 5.
Can you run through them for me?
Again, please.
But see, here's the thing.
Can you run through the traits for me, please?
Look, there's a lot of traits missing, but what else would be missing would be empathy.
What do you? Oh, that's me.
And compassion would be missing from the alpha, which is you, sir.
Yeah.
Oh,
soft ass.
Well, can you run through what you got on your
So
list?
dumb, bro. You know what?
I think I see it.
So here,
leadership focused. I got that. I preach that. That's my business. Like I'm teaching leaders how to be leaders. So I got that. Strong or brave.
What do you read, bro? You a beta, okay?
No.
And
look
and
at
here,
how
here's the
beta.
thing, and I know, and that's the preconceived.
That is the preconceived
notion of a beta.
I owned a beta, Max.
And we got a beta fish that's floating in the water
I
on
ain't no
the
damn
shelf
beta.
over there. But
I ain't no
that's
damn
not what we're
beta.
talking about.
Look, man, that's the point.
That's the point of this episode, right? Is to debunk the myth of the beta, right? Because
not everybody can be a leader, and not every leader should be leading.
But just because you're a beta doesn't mean you're not a leader.
I get it.
Exactly.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
So the traits of an alpha, leadership
Man,
focus,
if you don't get off alpha,
brave,
All right.
strong, capable, decisive. I agree. I am not decisive. I struggle with choosing lunch every day.
So that was the one that got me as well because of my Pisces nature. However, there's different situations, right? So, I'd like to empower my team and even my clients to make their own decisions. Mainly because I don't want to be the one that's wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I do that. But if it comes back to me, like, all right, it's black, it's green, it's go, it's stop, it's no, it's yes. Like making those decisions when it comes down to urgency is easier for me than making an everyday decision on, all right, like you said, like, all right, what am I going to eat? What am I going to wear? Like little shit like that. Like those are non-consequential.
What I'm going to eat for lunch and dinner is the hardest decision of my day. And what I'm going to wear is right there with it.
Okay. Damn. Is figuring out what you're going to eat for dinner hard because you can't figure it out? Or
so hungry.
I'm going to turn his mic
We
off.
can't figure it out.
Exactly. That's why it's a hard decision is because you have other people involved in that decision-making process.
But yes, it's all bad.
That is a problem for every family.
Every family has that problem. So
it's all bad.
Hey, look, and if you want to be the alpha, like we're gonna eat Popeyes tonight, then you waste that money because you're the only one eating Popeyes, and everybody else still hungry bitching about food.
But I just lay more for me.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess y'all eat cereal. Enjoy your dinner, Apple.
Oh man, everybody like, why are you trying to alpha male us and shit tonight with these Popeyes? No, we don't eat Popeyes.
Why are you trying to black alpha male us?
Oh man,
Herb.
So I had this conversation last night, and I think I am a true Sigma. I am different. I don't really conform. I'm gonna do my own thing. No.
What did wifey call you?
I don't see you. As
She agree with that?
Yeah.
Y'all popped an edible before that. That shit is not
That's
right.
not
No, bro,
true.
you are not a lone wolf.
I'm not a lone wolf. Well, but it's weird. The older I've gotten, the more I'm totally fine being alone.
That's because you old.
You follow.
We just don't care as much about other people.
You follow all rules as long as it's not the DMV.
Do I follow all?
Bro, been riding dirty for 2 years.
Yeah, those
Lone
rules.
wolf. Also an escape wolf.
Thumbs his nose up at Texas.
Bro. sticking it to the man.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta pay what for?
Yeah.
How much?
And then the man stuck it to you for 2 times the
This
amount.
is my property. You get your cut when you get your
You better beta your ass and fall in line. Follow these laws and rules.
man.
Nah,
I
I
mean,
don't know. Sigma's
it was-
kind of tough.
Sigma's, but I'm like,
I think-
efficient lifestyle.
I think you're a Delta.
Delta.
I think you're a Delta.
Herman throwing the dynasty sign.
I just don't. I
Beautiful,
don't see that.
hardworking, competent,
You're
proud.
yep.
Desire respect for
your
their work.
That's all you need in life.
Bro, that is number one
That
for
is
him.
number one.
Herman.
Yes.
Herman Brady Watson. The 19th.
HB Dub.
Hold up.
Bro.
But here's the deal, though.
We can
I'm not that
I
hard.
can go back to the episode, find the tape,
We got
put it on a reel.
We got like
I can play it back.
Really?
Yes.
See, I just don't think I'm that hardworking or dutiful.
Well,
I mean, in my own nucleus,
no,
maybe.
we didn't say nothing about hardworking.
Yeah,
We said
I'm
want
hard-
respect for the work. What you do,
Yeah.
you want your damn credit.
Yeah, but
Introverted, private, maybe low self-esteem.
I have low self-esteem
It says maybe.
because I won't see that at all.
Have you ever been cheated on?
Probably. Hasn't everybody?
Probably.
Probably.
I'm like,
I say that because that's in the description, y'all.
yeah, no, I don't think I
My
have
vote's-
an uncomplicated life at all. I have a very, very complicated life.
Oh,
And I don't have freedom to do any hobbies. None. My hobby is driving people to school and picking them up from school.
You love cooking and you
I
cook
don't
every day.
love
Oh, it's
cooking.
often.
Unless you football.
My duty.
Hold
is
on, you don't like cooking?
I mean, not
Bro,
now. I'm
bro,
too busy.
if we was doing a potluck tomorrow, you
Yeah.
ain't gonna bring
Yeah,
a pot
a
of
jambalaya.
jambalaya
I will.
because
I will
you
do
love
that.
cooking it.
I just
You
want
love
I just want y'all to say, "Wow, this dude is."
You
a
want
better cook than
respect
I
for
am."
your work.
Yeah, you want respect for your work. You like cooking. You hate dishes,
Which I do both.
We gonna give those to the baby.
but you hate dishes. Which I feel you. I hate dishes too.
What does that have to do with anything?
I just
I don't think nobody likes doing
Hey, look,
dishes.
I just don't see myself as that because this is even in the other one. Like my archetype was a mentor. I didn't fit. Like if I was to take a quiz, maybe that's what we should do. We should take quizzes. Like on the archetype quiz on the other one.
What's the old website?
Bro, you put it
BuzzFeed, bro.
together?
This
No,
is BuzzFeed episode. We gonna take some quizzes.
Dog, I'm not. I'm talking about the quiz that you give people as the brand.
Archetype.
Yeah, the actual
So
archetype.
are you trying to match up archetypes with these?
At some level, they kind of are because this is that is the
So all right, let's talk about let's unpack.
And
that a
that's what I
little
was
bit.
like,
This was something that was kind of bothering me earlier when I talked about throwing this whole construct out of the window. Because there's so many of them, right? So you got
Yes.
like the disc profile, you got Myers-Briggs, you got our archetype.
Yep.
You have this social dominance hierarchy, right? So I think it's kind of like a religion. They all come from the same place, trying to do similar things, but differently.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Right.
before we break that down,
Oh yeah, he tried to escape himself.
yeah, he wanted to get into the weeds, but let's turn the gun. So, where do you think you fall?
If I evaluate work life, relationships, and I mean, it's basically everything. I would say I'm a combination. Is that my indecisiveness kicking in? I think I'm in an alpha. I'm in an alpha male role, with the business. I think that as the male of the household, I'm doing air quotes. I am the alpha there, but by no means do I make the majority of the decisions that happen under my roof. Right? So
Yeah.
do I get in where I fit in? Right? Like, am I a chameleon? Am I code switching my male dominance? Because a lot of times I feel most things I do, I'm leadership focused. But brave, strong, capable, decisive, responsible, meh. So I have beta traits. I have alpha traits. I got delta traits. I'm probably a delta.
I should have expanded this list, and I apologize for that.
No, it's cool. I honestly, I think
apologize in alpha male.
You said,
Alphas don't apologize.
That is true.
yeah.
He's the first alpha to say sorry. Look at you.
I didn't say sorry.
No, I'm talking about him.
Again,
I'm talking about him.
Oh,
so
I don't
all right,
strive to be a leader.
so do sigmas apologize?
Sigmas do their own thing.
Sigmas kick ass and take names later.
Sigmas do their own thing.
I don't see. I think that you are.
I'm probably 50% alpha, 50% delta.
That is a combination for you.
See, that's why this is so this is very confusing because I see myself as a delta in relationships. I don't see myself as a delta at all, anywhere close to like work.
Is there a quiz for this?
Oh,
There
probably.
I think there is one.
that-
I think yes, I think that there's definitely a little bit of piece of several categories. For me, I'd probably say my number one after really reading is probably beta. And then I think after that, then it's probably secondarily.
Gamma.
Gamma. Yeah,
Yep.
I would agree.
Yeah. So let's take the quiz and then we'll post the results on social and we'll see if we are in lockstep with our predictions.
Except for the socially awkward. I'm not socially awkward.
That's what you think. But you are
You
actually
used to
socially
be.
awkward because nobody got
You-
your jokes
Yeah.
if you were in all
You
white
used to
spaces
be.
and they
I
didn't
grew
watch
out of that.
C4.
I
You used
did.
to be when we were the only black person in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I was.
You make a
Like
joke
we-
from Martin and it was straight crickets.
Bro. So socially awkward, bro.
You
Well,
know that part when Tommy did
So-
y'all ain't never seen.
And so I was going to go into that earlier, right? When I think about different friend groups, right? And if I go to race, I have
Alpha
several
speed.
different, not racing, several different white friend groups, integrated groups, and then, all black groups. I play a different role in those. For most of the groups that are majority white, I play the alpha male in friend groups.
Do you play that, or are you kind of placed there because all eyes are already going to be on you because you're the only black thing sticking out like
I
that?
don't know. It's been like that since, I was
91,
5.
90,
Yeah.
90,
ever since I
89.
moved to Lee Summit, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, we're kind of another thing, like we're just kind of forced there.
Right, but then you take the instance of, okay, now I'm thrusted into, Florida A&M, and I'm at a school of 99.8% black. I'm as beta as they come.
Man, this is a spicy
Because
one
those,
here, bro.
those were totally different types of alphas I've never even seen before.
That is so real.
You know what I'm saying?
Man. Yeah, because it's on. You're here.
I'm all right, so.
You're not in your natural habitat.
Right. However, now that, fast forward 20 years, right? And so, the family, we're going down to Miami soon to go for the FAMU Jackson State game, right? And I'm going to be with a bunch of black alpha males. And now that I have this in my head, I'm going to be very, very cognizant as to how we interact with each other and who starts to be a little subservient, which is me. Like I get in where I fit in. However,
They're like, can you go get me some ice? No.
ain't your beta. But I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes because I think over time, right? So like in business, my confidence is built.
Right.
Right. And down there, we're adults, right? We have more money, we have more access, we have more wisdom. So I think we all just have more confidence on how to just navigate life. And that's what I love about, these types of reunions with old friends. You can see how things have changed. People have changed, come out of their beta shells, right? Because they were thrust into a leadership position and now they're an alpha on a day-to-day basis. And then they get back into this old group and like, all right, where do I fit in now? That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's always good to do that right now because when you were in college, it was just such a different dynamic, like you said. Like in majority of our circles, we were just so broke and we had nothing. So you're really on equal footing. And then now life has happened. People are different. So some people who were, very much so in the background, now they got money and now they want to call shots and flex about what we gonna do.
Bro.
Let's go here. I got this. I got the bottle.
Everybody trying to be
You
an
owe
alpha,
me.
bro, for the weekend.
Yeah.
Alpha for the weekend.
Yeah.
Alpha male for the weekend.
And the cat who had it all back in the day had all the girls, had the car, had had everything. Now that got a Delta-like job.
Who you talking about?
Hey,
I know you got somebody you picked. You was talking about somebody just like directly. Are they listening? Do they know you talking about them?
Well, if you offended, can't take it back. Handle your business. So, but no, you see that, now it's, I'm not sure we won't do that, because they ain't got it. It's just really, really different.
Yep.
But tis the season, right? Like he's going back, and I plan on kicking it with my friends too from college since, Missouri State's number 5 in the nation.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Number 5.
We ain't never been there.
Congrats, bro. Congrats.
We ain't never been there before.
Well, on that same list, I saw Jackson State's number 10.
I saw that.
So
Dang.
I saw that. So y'all
that's gonna hurt.
go ahead,
It's gonna hurt. All right.
Wait, do y'all
handle them.
y'all don't play that what is that? What was that list?
That was FCS.
Okay.
Yeah. We did not play. We could play Jackson, but when I was in
want
college,
to, would you want to?
Going down to Mississippi.
the most fun game I ever played in was at Hampton.
Absolutely.
We played at
Hampton's
Hampton,
so dope.
and Hampton was so dope. We beat Hampton on the road, but man, that band during the game when they playing Crucial Conflict during the game, smoking on hay in the middle of the bar,
Showing age right there.
Hey.
not the whole huddle recognized what was going on, but at least 6 of us was like, oh.
Do y'all remember when we played? Who was it? Southeast. We played at Southeast High School.
Yes, I remember that. We played Central.
Yeah, it was Central.
Yeah.
And their band
Yeah.
came out
Yeah.
when they were in the stands.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah, I
okay, we whipping y'all butts, but yes, we got some tunes
Yeah,
to
I
it.
remember that.
But yeah, I mean, we go to the games for the band anyway, so we will win that competition.
There you go.
All right, you want to take it somewhere here?
Oh man, there's so many places that this could go, but I don't know which direction makes the most sense.
Well, that is a good question.
Right? Because I'm like, so maybe then it's time to wrap up.
Well, then if that's the case, then I think it's an interesting topic. Thank you for bringing it up. I think that you find where your home
Just
is.
say thank you.
Well,
That is not Alfred traits.
Bro, out here thanking people. You welcome, dog.
well,
you welcome. Follow my
I
thought.
know how much he needs respect for his work.
Hey,
So therefore, I'm feeding to that.
but that's where I struggle because I don't strive to be a leader. I'm not going to work that hard. I am going to think that hard. Like I am.
That's work for you.
That is work for me. But like,
No, actually, work for you is doing yard work. That's work for you. Herman will think
Bro.
24 hours a day. He will pull an all-nighter to think and share his ideas.
Hey, look.
But damn, I got to execute on them, or I
Bro.
got to go. Like he
hard, man.
You strategize about the line
Think
all the
day.
time, don't
They
you?
Think all day to not execute.
No. Hey man, don't worry about what I be doing.
But
lone wolf energy.
But all right. So to the point, right? I think the point of this episode is to be self-aware.
yes.
Right, to be able to identify what traits you have. I don't think anyone is one thing absolute, right? But if you understand and you can be, self-aware about what you are and in different scenarios, then you can understand the dynamics and how you play with others.
Right.
And
I think that's where, not to cut you off, but I'm like, when you look at society and how horrible we are getting along with one another, like we've said it 1,000 times,
Yeah.
people are not coming out of the pandemic well, right? And I think that's because there's all this misguided personality traits that are in so much conflict. Like everybody thinks they're an alpha or everybody doesn't want to be a beta, but I'm like, you are all of the things simultaneously, know what they are. And if you're going through something, if you lost a job, but you're still giving off alpha energy, like that doesn't mesh. Like that's going to butt up to somebody and it's creating conflict. And I feel like maybe this isn't the overarching thing that if everybody understood this entire hierarchy, everything would be better. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it could reduce some friction
Absolutely.
where friction does not need to exist.
1000%.
Yeah, that's because we've never been more empowered than we are today. So everybody has a platform. So everybody has something that's an alpha-like trait to be able to communicate from, I guess, a speaker or whatever. So that is the problem. Well, that's not the problem.
But maybe that's what it
the
is.
Opportunity that we're
can
facing.
Be an alpha at a moment in time, but that doesn't mean it's going to be forever. That doesn't have
that
to
doesn't
encompass.
That doesn't make you an alpha either.
Right.
You just subbing in.
Yeah. Like, it's not always going to be you.
So you touched on platform, and I wanted to go there before we wrapped up. The interwebs, I think, have changed. The internet and the content that people consume can infect your mind, right? Persuasive
Absolutely,
content makes you want to go buy something that you had no idea you needed because you actually don't, right? Or you consume hateful content and now you're in a bad mood,
Enraged.
right? Or now you think something of this population of people. So the fake news, the real news, the ads, the thoughtful and emotional content, people didn't have that when this construct was built, right? So now you got false alphas, right?
Yeah.
Like people are thinking there's something else because they're that online.
Right.
And then you get into the real world and
You're like,
step
hey,
out as an
nobody
alpha.
else is following you.
Right.
Actually, that is a thing. Nobody else is following you.
So you're saying no.
Or maybe you do feel like people are following you because you have a few followers.
Got some followers, right?
But that's
I know
not.
a couple people who would go through a whole lot for 14 likes. They put a lot of energy out there for like 6 likes. I know a dude, and I'm gonna find out if he's listening to this or not. I know some of the homies will hear it and be like, "Oh man!" But I know a homie who says a lot of thirst traps, a lot of thirst traps for 11 likes.
Damn.
So he would be
They all 3 techniques. Too.
Is he Omega? Making people uncomfortable?
Possibly.
Yeah, man. He's always doing it, and the world wants him to stop. But he ain't stop. He ain't caught on yet.
All right, let's wrap this up. I want to go through the different levels of the hierarchy, and let's throw out someone, celebrity A, B list, whatever, who we think personifies that social dominance level.
Okay.
Let's start from the bottom.
Now we here.
Okay.
Omega. So less attractive, awkward, weird, makes people uncomfortable, gives up on relationships, and resentful of women.
Elon Musk.
That's probably perfect. All right.
Yeah, mic drop.
But it's funny.
Well,
Russell Simmons.
okay.
Huh.
Interesting.
Huh. It's also weird because they're also at the top of,
Right.
right? Like Elon Musk has more money than I could even comprehend.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that, yeah, I was going to put him in Gamma for the highly intelligent piece, but the whole well-rounded versatility, jack of all trades, he's just smart and got a lot of resources, I think. Okay. So what about Gamma? Highly intelligent. Yeah, I mean, I just read all those. Socially awkward, empathetic, compassionate, most well-rounded.
Jack of all trades.
Will Smith?
Ooh.
Is he a Gamma?
He might be. That actually probably is a good one. I don't know if he's socially awkward, but maybe that plays into why he's
Certainly
his
appears to be.
humor.
Yeah, he's definitely. I think so.
Oh, you just don't smack people at events? Y'all don't do
It
that?
doesn't get no more awkward than that.
Maybe he's an alpha because he creates awkward situations, and then y'all gotta exist within the.
You know, I was thinking about it, but since he did it, I'm like, nah, no slapping people on site.
But
I see there's consequences. I hate to get us canceled.
I could make yeah.
So
sure.
like this Gamma, like I think of like triple threats, right? Like Willennium, Jamie Foxx.
That's awkward. Yeah. Here and I like it.
You know, people that are just very talented, but don't
master any.
Well, I mean, those guys mastered like multiple crafts.
Yeah.
Yes, they
Right.
there.
But Seth Rogen, You
Yeah.
put that one down. I think that's a good example, especially on the
Trying to
awkward
think of-
part.
Yeah.
Somebody who does a lot and is very versatile, but they're never the lead character.
That's so many actors that I can't name.
It's like
And the third best supporting actor goes to
Lewis. Just Lewis.
Lewis. Are you here?
You see them everywhere, but they're always the
Right.
sidekick.
They're in everything, bro.
Yeah.
Call him Lewis, man.
Yeah, that's Lewis. All right, let's move up to Delta. So this is your average Joe, dutiful,
So,
hardworking.
Can there be an average Joe that is
That
popular?
is a celebrity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, so I think this is the person, right? Your average Joe is the hardest working, person that's going to be an extra, going to take a leading role, a supporting role, will be, come in on a track.
Yeah.
Like, who produces the most content?
Yeah, an average Joe would be
Nicolas Cage.
I w-
Who got more movies
look.
than Nick? Bro, wifey and I, we watched the
Steven
movie.
Seagal.
Kevin Bacon.
Steven Seagal,
Steven Seagal.
who I met, who was big as shit. That dude was big as.
He runs.
Boy,
I was like,
no, he's an actual master. Like,
of karate.
yeah.
Here goes karate guy.
So, hey,
teach us.
I just gotta bring you up, bro. But the movie that we watched, Nicolas Cage, that he just came out with, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's got him and Pedro Pascal. I don't know if y'all know who he is. He's awesome. He would be a hardworking average Joe, I think, too. Bro, that movie was so funny. But it just makes fun of how many films he has created and his brand and how he can be anything, in anyone in any film. And I'm looking at his IMDb. It's pretty long. Y'all got any other ones?
So I guess one of my things would be like, would the character Jon Snow be a Delta even though he was an Alpha in leadership? But at the same time, at the end of, I don't want to give away the end of that show.
Man, that's old. This ain't no spoiler alerts.
Right. But at the same
I
time,
think
I'm
he's
like,
a-
he would be the,
I would make him a beta though, right?
but who was he supporting other than himself? And he was the
His
true
house, right? Like whoever was leading the house.
king. But that wasn't his house. But I guess my point is he is portrayed as he's not the biggest.
he's a bastard child, right? As
Yeah.
they put it in the show. So there's no way he could be an alpha in society
Right.
until he
Yeah.
killed everybody else or, made it.
He also
apparent.
had that heart of like the compassion, the empathy piece. Like,
Yeah.
so I would say that maybe I'm wrong, but to me, that is his archetype is Delta.
Yeah. He's you know what? We'll put another one on here called Enigma. I think that one fits.
Okay.
Jon Snow.
Boom.
All right. Let's see. What we do? Beta.
Those two, I think Chandler Bing and Phil Dunphy are, I think, perfect examples
Phil Dunphy. Who's that?
from Modern Family.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Oh, well.
I do not watch that.
Seen it.
I mean, Beta is basically the supporting role, right? Like the
Yeah.
one that does actually does all the work.
Funny.
In
Game of
movies,
Thrones.
Samuel L. would be one, right?
And what?
Movies, Samuel L. He's always
Yeah, that-
supporting.
Yeah.
He makes the movie. He comes in, steals the show, but he's always supporting. He's never really the lead.
Huh. What an interesting dynamic, Django Unchained. Who was the lead? Because they would not have been alpha or beta, or I guess they were alpha and beta in certain
Yeah.
contexts, right? Because he couldn't be successful without Homeboy's money. And, vice versa. He couldn't capture
Oh,
all
you
of
mean the
people.
characters?
Yeah.
Not the actual actors.
Jamie Foxx and I can't remember what the doctor's name was. But they needed each other in that.
Yeah.
So ironically, they could both be alphas and betas simultaneously.
Or a Lawrence Fishburne,
Mind blown.
Morpheus.
Morpheus, yeah. Because Neo would have been the alpha.
Yep.
Was he though? He was in the decisive.
That would have been one of those alpha
Morpheus
situations
was
where you're
technically the
forced into
alpha,
it.
right? Like he was training him, leading him, putting him on the path to success, and then
So Morpheus,
He turned him into an alpha.
right? So Morpheus would be the beta, right? Like that supporting cast of giving you all the skills because you can take this further than I can because you have that.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay, that helped explain these concepts a little bit more too. So Sigma,
So the Sigma ones, I think, are great. Wolverine.
lone wolf mentality, nonconformity. Wolverine is a good one.
So Steve Jobs. That actually stood out to me because I'm like, man, everybody hated him, loved him, but he was going to build his shit, and he built something unbelievable, right? And he did it his way.
Sure.
And people told him he was going to fail, but look at
Muhammad
that
Ali
company.
is a really good example.
Yeah. Oh
Really
man,
good
especially
example.
for that time period, right? Like he was
Yes.
saying shit that, I mean, obviously a lot of people.
He was
were
living in 2030, bro.
bro.
Yeah, that's a great example. And then alpha. What's the best alpha that you can think of?
The best alpha. There's so many versions. I don't think that that's a good one.
I agree.
Best alpha I
Mike
can
Tyson?
think of. No. Talk about leadership.
Denzel Washington.
Mike Tyson's a Sigma. Denzel was what came to mind.
Denzel would be Oprah, maybe. Although Oprah kind of strikes me as something else.
Oh, we wasn't doing ladies.
Dang it.
Breaking
Well, we were
your own
gonna. I was
rules.
gonna go through, make that its own episode. But when it comes to a
Denzel's a good one. Obama.
Obama's probably
Hove. Diddy.
Yep. I mean, everybody at the top of their game, right?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
and so what you didn't do though is you did not put the negative traits of an alpha on here. You did all the positive ones.
Yeah, you don't have to go far to see those negative ones. You just don't. But I would recommend people. I mean, it's too much. This episode could be 5 hours.
But
long.
like, but to your point earlier though, the misconception is that alphas are assholes,
right?
And we've talked about this in business and how, like, Eamon and I, wifey, we talk about this all the time. We don't lead our businesses as alpha like as we think we should.
That's because society moved on from that type of leadership, right? Like that was like leadership from like the 40s and 50s was this like cutthroat. Look, you work in this fucking factory in these horrible
.com,
conditions,
bro.
Yeah,
That's
right.
still here.
I mean, it's still here, but not like how it was, where it's like I run this company, I'm not paying you shit. Now it's like, hey, we're doing the social good and we're doing all these things. We're paying,
Right.
You know, like
but they're doing that because they know that they have shareholders to
yeah. But I mean,
to make happy,
but
and they
also-
have consumers that need to know that they have social responsibility and all that. But really, do the CEOs really care?
I mean, yeah, because
Like some
they
of
were
those alpha male CEOs.
I don't
like
even know if you can
WeWork-
say that an alpha male CEO is that much of an alpha anymore because there's so many people that influence their decision. Yeah, they're the final decision maker, but
Sure. Well, I think of Facebook. Facebook was the first one that came to mind. That's why I brought up the whole male versus female thing, is because, Zuckerberg, he's the leader. He's the alpha.
yeah, that's
And great example, but
while being an extreme omega.
Well, allow the man of the three of us who's in big business to go ahead and retort.
let me finish my thought before you come in and
my
jab.
God, man.
But Facebook's beta is the real reason why they took off
Cheryl
and became profitable.
Sandberg?
Yes.
Yeah.
1,000%. Okay,
School
Mr.
us, though,
Corporate.
CEO.
So, yeah, like we just went through a CEO change, and it's very clear the personality trait of the guy who's in charge now is an alpha. And what you're seeing is a complete culture shift. You see that when they come in with their agenda, alphas don't prioritize relationships as much. So, therefore, you're seeing that. Like, we're seeing a complete shift and focus on dollars and cents and less about people than was once before.
Yeah.
And
She's like, none of you all will be here because I'm in charge now.
Bro,
but I've seen it before. Whenever things like this happen, the fear of God takes its toll, and you see leaders change and people react differently because of this alpha male energy at the top. And if that alpha male energy is one that is prioritized on certain things, then you're going to see people conform to for survival.
Yeah, new norms.
And so then you see people cut off their nose and spite their face. It all the way trickles down. Yeah. It's a brand new culture. Now, personally, I'm not complaining about my employment situation. But what I'm saying is I can notice that there is a shift.
You're the head of HR. I hope you did notice that
shift. I mean, it's a shift from the executive, the executive level. And when the problem with a lot of companies is executives will shift, pivot hard and fast.
Yeah. I mean, that's
what they
typically
get paid the big
why.
Bucks,
Yeah,
and like you don't make
it's tough.
You make big decisions in
It's tough for localized levels to pivot so quickly because once they pivot, there's real life results for the people who are actually accomplishing the task.
1,000%.
And there's a significant lag, and so I've been in companies before, and I'm in a company currently that's trying to balance all that.
So
that is politics at its finest.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's politics, but it's business, right? Like if there's, I don't know why the previous CEO left, but typically it's for change, right? You're moving in a new direction. You need a new subject matter expert who's done this before, who's scaled, who's, vertically, horizontally, like whatever. But based on your story, you don't have to be in the leadership position to be an alpha, right? Your previous CEO, now that you've seen a real alpha, what was your previous CEO? Was in an alpha role, but he
was in an alpha role, but he wasn't. He, to a lesser degree, of extremism, I would say.
Dude, I'm sorry, and I know we probably need to wrap up, but this is making me think about the coaching in college football because those roles change so often. I'm like, man, you come in there, you can't be an alpha, even though you have to be a leader to inspire a team and inspire change and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm thinking of LSU, but I'm thinking about a ton of SEC schools. Like when that change happens, like how do you get people that are only going to be there a few years to follow you as a leader or to see you as an alpha or to why? Why should I listen to you?
It's about the relationships, right? And if you don't take those seriously.
Leadership is always about connecting needs and wants. And it's about, if I need to get this out of you, I have to match that with what you want out of your situation. And we have to be able to match that to a common goal. So,
or you're not there, so you out. I'm going to pull somebody else that I already know that's got it.
Transfer portal.
Right? So there's different types of leadership. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but one thing I always talk about is there's that, you can change parts interchangeably or whatever if there's an abundance, but true leadership is getting the most out of your people.
Yeah,
and that's a situation that I'm dealing with right now is I have a leader who is trying to just kick people out. Maybe I get another person in here and I'm like, you're not demonstrating anything that I would call leadership by doing such a thing. We had a team here.
Right.
If you're the leader who I think you should be able to get something out of that talent. Now, if they're truly incompetent, then you manage out.
Right.
But that's not the case. You're just changing parts to change parts. And that's not good alpha energy.
I agree. So did you have this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Did you let go of the
that was very alpha
boss? Just
no, thank you. It's a tough conversation.
Did he fire his boss? He's HR.
Questioning somebody's leadership is tough, but it has to be done.
Dude, well, most people don't understand the broader strategy. Like that, most people don't even see the overarching strategy, especially at a corporation that big. Like, so the person that's the lowest on the totem pole has no idea what's happening. They just know things are changing, and people don't like change, and this is gonna mess up my whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like managing down to that. This is changing. This is why, and then somehow trying to connect the why to a result or a goal.
One of the reasons why I settled on beta is because in my position, as much as I think that I'm the man and as much as I think as confident as I might be, or at least exude, I'm always the man next to the man.
Yeah, you answer to somebody.
I'm in human resources. I'm not running anything.
Yeah.
Yes, if everybody goes out, I'm going to be the last one there because I got to cut the check. But I'm not the man. And so
sounds like you're gonna be real busy.
So I'm technically the beta.
Doing your beta job.
Yeah, technically.
You just got upgraded. You're beta plus. You got to put out fires for relationship fires, right?
Yeah, technically that's where I fall. And so I guess one thing I've learned today is know your role.
And maybe that's why I saw myself as a Sigma, because my pathway to where I am was so non-traditional. right? Like I wanted to do basically what I'm doing, and I fucking feel like I went through everything, good, bad, indifferent, and crazy to get there, and somehow.
Yeah, you got Sigma traits, but
Delta.
still not convinced.
So I seen Kid Delta.
Do this.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. This guy.
All right.
Oh man.
All right, we're gonna take the quiz. That's gonna be the definitive answer. There's no
Put it up.
There's no cheating.
Hey man, I got my disc profile. I had to take my disc profile I think 3 times because the first 2 it was dead center. And he said there's no way that's possible. I did it twice and then I had to like
Man.
You're the only one that did it
like,
wrong.
I read everything on behavior, so like I could see the
I do the
flaws
same
in the
thing.
questioning.
I have the same problem.
Y'all answering to get the
Yeah.
result that you want to get.
Well, I'm
or
like,
that
I
you
know
want
what
your
you're
boss
trying to get to,
Yeah.
and then I just saw that the second one was a reflection of the first one. You're trying to make sure that it's throwing me off, but I'm like, that's not. I didn't.
Overthinking ass.
Kinda.
Let me see.
That's not Sigma.
Sounds pretty beta to me. All right. Well, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, whatever you are,
Thrive in it.
I think that the moral of the story, right, is be self-aware, understand it, and then share it with people around you, right? Figure out how to work better and play well together and all that good stuff. And I will be interested to see what we are, and also maybe unpack the female side of this, because I think,
Dude, that'll be interesting.
that's probably going to be super complex.
And my thing, just to kind of go on that, would be like learn what it is about people and how you can better support them by understanding the change that might happen as people go through certain changes. So if you know these things and you can predict kind of how they're going to act, you can be a better friend and supporter, helping them move on to the next level.
1,000%.
Let's go.